What if I told you that the most important thing you can ever know about yourself is something that's already inside you? It's not a secret or a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered, it's your true worth. And it's been there all along. Let me tell you something that every woman needs to hear, especially from someone who's lived long enough to know better. Ladies, daughters, sisters, listen carefully. I'm 72 years old now, and if the years have taught me anything, it's this. Wisdom doesn't always come from books or schools. It comes from life. It's in the daily moments of living. It's in the quiet, sacred prayers. It's in watching hearts rise and fall, some in joy, some in sorrow, and all of them teaching us something about ourselves. And today, I'm here to share something with you that many women still don't understand, but truly must. It's something I've learned, and I'm hoping you'll hear it, take it in, and carry it with you. From one woman to another, I want to remind you that we live in a world that is louder than it has ever been. It shouts at us from every corner: TV screens, phone screens, magazines, social media, you name it, all of them sending the same message, just in different ways. You are not enough unless you look like this, unless you have this, unless you become this. It's a dangerous narrative wrapped in a shiny, glittery bow. And let me tell you something, too many women, even the strong ones, even the good ones, have started to believe it. But here's the truth, the one that no one seems to be talking about. Your worth was never meant to be defined by your reflection in the mirror. No, your worth was meant to be rooted in something far deeper, something eternal. The world will always move the goalposts. Today it's about your weight. Tomorrow it's about your age. Next week it's about your relationship status. And if you spend your life chasing after that kind of worth, you will find yourself running a race that never ends. You'll be running until your soul grows tired. The truth is, when you were created, you weren't an accident. You weren't some kind of backup plan. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. That's not just poetry, that's a promise. And the one who made you, he didn't look at you and say, almost. No, he looked at you and said, good. But somewhere between childhood and womanhood, the world convinced us otherwise. We started measuring ourselves by what others thought, by how many compliments we received, by who stayed and who left. We learned to tie our worth to how much we could do for others and how little we could ask for ourselves. But that's not who you are. That's just who the world told you to be. Your worth was settled long before you spoke your first word, before you ever succeeded or failed, before you won someone's heart or lost their approval. Your worth is not something you earn, it's something you already have. It's not fragile. It's not dependent on your past. It's not erased by your mistakes. Your worth isn't determined by your income, your status, your dress size, or your age. Your worth is tied to your identity. And your identity? That was formed in the hands of the one who crafted you with purpose and intention. There were times I've looked into the mirror and felt like a stranger. There were seasons when I felt invisible, as though I was doing everything and yet no one seemed to notice. But over time, I learned, slowly, painfully, that there's a kind of beauty that the world doesn't understand. A quiet, rooted beauty that comes from being known by the one who made me. That's redemption. It's not just about being loved, it's about being chosen, being forgiven, being held when the world lets you go. And, dear sister, that is your truest reflection. Don't waste another moment of your life chasing a standard that doesn't even see you. Don't give up your peace just for the price of someone else's approval. Look higher, live deeper, feel this in your bones. You are already enough. You were enough yesterday, you are enough today, and you will still be enough tomorrow. That never changes, not with age, not with circumstances, not with failure. So the next time the world tries to sell you your worth in a bottle, a number, or a title, just smile gently and say, no, thank you. I already know who I am. Because many women don't know this, but now you do. You don't have to shrink to be loved. You don't have to be silent to be accepted. You don't have to hide your fire to make others feel comfortable. Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught to apologize for our strength, as if being bold, being direct, being passionate was something to be ashamed of. But I'm here to tell you, that strength in you, it's not a flaw, it's your power, and don't you forget it. As we continue our journey from the last page, we touched on the incredible power of understanding your worth. Now, let's dive into another aspect of being a woman: strength. It's not something that needs to be softened or hidden away. It is a gift, and it's time we stop apologizing for it. I've lived long enough to see strong women mistaken for difficult ones. I've watched as women were taught to lower their eyes, speak only when spoken to, and second-guess their instincts. I've seen strength labeled as stubbornness and leadership called bossiness. And yet, here's the truth. There's nothing more beautiful than a woman who knows who she is, who stands unshaken, unashamed in her own power. You were not created to fade into the background of your own life. You were created to rise, to speak, to lead, to build. If your strength makes someone else uncomfortable, that says more about their insecurity than it does about your worth. It's a reflection of their lack of confidence, not your lack of value. Be kind, be gracious, yes, but never mistake humility for hiding. Don't apologize for the way you carry light. The world needs women who don't just whisper behind closed doors but who walk into a room and change its atmosphere with their presence. That kind of strength is what we need more of. But strength doesn't only look like walking into a room and commanding attention. It also means knowing what love really is. Too often, women confuse being needed with being valued. We stay in relationships, in jobs, in circumstances that hurt, thinking that endurance equals loyalty. We give until we have nothing left, believing that's what love demands. But let me tell you this, love, true love, is not a cage. It doesn't keep you confined or silent. It doesn't shrink you so that someone else can feel bigger. Real love is a covenant. It's not about control, it's about commitment. It's not about power, it's about protection. True love says, I see you, and I still choose you. It's never, I'll keep you if you obey me. If you've ever felt like you had to beg for love, I need to tell you, with all the love I have in my heart, that wasn't love. That was fear dressed up as affection. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not asking for too much by wanting honesty, consistency, and respect. These aren't luxuries. They're the foundation of any relationship that honors you as the daughter of God that you are. And if you ever have to sacrifice your peace, your dignity, or your calling just to keep someone around, it's not love, it's bondage. I've walked beside women who stayed silent for decades, believing that silence was noble. I've seen others find their voice and, in doing so, find their freedom. You do not owe anyone a version of yourself that makes them comfortable but causes you to disappear. You can be both soft and fierce, gentle and powerful, loving and still unwilling to be walked on. There is strength in choosing peace over chaos, in walking away from what wounds you, and in standing alone when love turns into control. And there is strength in staying when love is true and the covenant is mutual. So, stop apologizing for your voice, for your strength, for wanting love that lifts you instead of limits you. You are not too much. You are just enough. The right people in your life will never ask you to be less. We were told that motherhood would come naturally, that it would be easy, and that we just instinctively know what to do. But let me tell you, raising a child is one of the hardest, holiest things a woman can ever do. It's not just about changing diapers or getting them to school on time. It's about shaping a soul while trying to hold your own together. And yet, many women don't see their work as sacred because the world doesn't always applaud what happens in the quiet moments. But heaven sees it. Every meal you prepare, every night you sit beside a sick child, every time you bite your tongue so they feel heard, every prayer whispered over their sleeping heads, that's kingdom work. That's love in action. Raising children may not always look glamorous, but it is glorious. You are raising warriors, peacemakers, truth tellers, and maybe even future healers. Even when it feels like no one sees you, remember that God does. Your labor is not in vain. Still, even in this sacred calling, there's a temptation that many women fall into: silence. As we move forward from the last thought on silence, let's dive into something equally powerful: your voice. Too many of us have been taught to be quiet, to be agreeable, to keep the peace, and to never stir the waters. But here's the truth: silence isn't always golden. Sometimes, silence is a chain. It's the voice of fear, not wisdom. And far too many women have stayed silent for too long about their dreams, their needs, their heartbreak, and their calling. We silence ourselves because we fear being seen as difficult or emotional. But I want to tell you this today: There is absolutely nothing wrong with speaking your truth. There is nothing wrong with saying, "This hurts me," or "I need help," or even, "I was made for more." Your voice matters, your story matters, and your truth, it has the power to set others free as well. So don't wait until it's safe to speak. The truth is never truly welcome in places where lies are comfortable. But speak anyway, even if your voice shakes, even if no one else seems to understand. Because here's the deal, your silence will never change the world. But your courage might. And when the world around you gets too loud, when the demands pile up, when the pressure builds, and your soul feels stretched to its limits, that's when you'll find that peace doesn't come from doing more. It doesn't come from hustling harder, checking one more box, or earning one more dollar. It comes from surrender. This world tells you that in order to find peace, you have to hustle harder, to prove yourself, to be busy constantly. But God whispers something different. He says, "Be still, trust me, let go." The kind of peace that your soul is craving won't come from doing more. It comes from knowing that you don't have to carry everything on your own. You were never meant to. You are not the savior. You are not the fixer of everything. You are a beloved daughter. And sometimes, the most faithful thing you can do is to lay it all down. Lay down your need to be everything for everyone. Lay down the guilt. Lay down the fear of not being enough. Lay down the anger, the bitterness, the ache. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means handing over your burdens. It means trading the weight of your worries for the peace that only He can provide. So breathe, sister. Let the world spin without you for just a moment. Rest, not because everything is done, but because you are deeply loved even in the unfinished moments. You are enough, even in the stillness. You are whole, even when everything around you feels broken or incomplete. And that peace you're longing for? It begins the moment you stop running and start trusting. Here's something I wish more women knew, or something I wish someone had told me much earlier in life. You are not what the mirror says. You are not the number on a scale, the lines on your face, or the titles you carry. Your worth isn't something you earn through approval, applause, or attention. It was given to you long before the world tried to redefine you. And when you start believing that, really believing it, everything changes. Because you stop living to be seen by others, and you start living to be whole. Too many women spend their whole lives trying to measure up to standards they didn't even set. But here's the truth. Your reflection is not the full story. It never was. Your value comes from something deeper than beauty. It comes from being chosen, redeemed, and created with intention. That kind of worth doesn't fade with age. It doesn't shift with the seasons. It holds steady, even when everything else in your life feels uncertain. And while we're talking about truth, let me say this plainly. Stop apologizing for being strong. You don't need to shrink to make others comfortable. You don't need to downplay your intelligence, your leadership, your ideas, or your dreams. That fire inside you, it's not too much. In fact, it's exactly what this world needs. You were not made to blend in. You were made to lead, to build, to speak life into broken places. There will be people who mistake your strength for pride. Let them. There will be voices that try to silence you. Don't let them. Strength isn't loud or forceful. It's steady. It's being kind in the face of cruelty. It's choosing grace when bitterness is easier. It's standing when everything in you wants to sit down and give up. So, walk tall, speak up, and never, ever apologize for who you are when you're living in your calling. And now, let's talk about love, real love. Some of us have stayed in relationships too long, hoping love would change. We mistook control for care. We thought silence was safety. But love, true love, is not a cage. It doesn't confine you. It doesn't manipulate you. It doesn't make you question your worth. Love honors you. It doesn't force you to shrink or disappear. It allows you to rise and flourish. And that is the kind of love you deserve. Picking up where we left off, let's continue diving into the beauty and strength of love. Love listens. Love creates space for you to grow without fear, without judgment. But here's the hard truth. If you find yourself losing yourself to keep someone else, that's not love. It's bondage wrapped up in a pretty name. You deserve a love that allows you to feel more like yourself, not less. You deserve a partner, not a prison guard. Don't settle for anything less than a love that brings peace to your soul and strength to your steps. And if you've never seen that kind of love modeled in your life, let me promise you this, it exists. And yes, you are worthy of it. For the women raising children in the mess, the mundane, and the quiet sacrifices you think no one notices. Know this, I see you. But more importantly, God sees you. You're not just raising kids. You're raising hearts. You are shaping souls, molding the future. Every small moment, every late night, every, I love you, whispered through tears, it all counts. That's holy work. The world may not give you awards for it, but heaven keeps a record of every unseen act of love. And when you feel like you're not doing enough, remember this. Love is enough. Your presence is enough. Your quiet faithfulness is enough. So, hold your head high, not because you have it all together, but because you know who you are, whose you are, and what you are called to do. And let me tell you something. This truth, this certainty about who you are, is something many women don't know. But now you do. There comes a time in every woman's life when she stops trying to fit into the mold the world says she should occupy. She begins to remember who she already is. Unfortunately, too many women never reach that point. For too many, years go by, trying to shrink themselves, trying to meet standards they never agreed to. They look in the mirror and see flaws instead of purpose. But listen closely, your worth is not found in your reflection. It's found in your redemption. You are not less because your skin has aged or your waistline has widened. You are not disqualified because of a divorce, a failure, or a past you've kept hidden. You weren't made for the mirror. You were made for eternity. And the value you hold? That was never up for debate. It was settled by the hands that formed you, the love that claimed you, and the grace that has never stopped reaching for you. The world doesn't get to define you. It never did. And as you remember who you are, you also need to stop apologizing for being strong. Somewhere along the way, we were led to believe that being strong somehow made us less feminine, less lovable, less soft. But strength is not your enemy. It's your inheritance. Being strong doesn't mean you don't cry. It means you get back up. It means you don't let the world steal your voice. It means you lead when no one else will. And it means you love, even when it's hard. You don't need to dim your light to make others comfortable. You don't need to bite your tongue when your heart is urging you to speak. You can be both gentle and fierce. You can be full of grace and still draw boundaries. You were not created to please people. You were created to glorify truth. And if your strength makes someone uncomfortable, let it be a reminder that you were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's narrow space. But strength isn't just about standing tall, it's also about walking away when love becomes a cage. Too many women stay in relationships, in places that hurt, hoping that time will fix what love alone never should have damaged. Let me tell you something plain. Love does not break you. Love builds you. It doesn't silence you. It honors your voice. Love doesn't ask you to erase yourself. It calls you to grow together, equally, with grace and truth. If someone controls you, shames you, or makes you question your worth, that's not love. That's fear, manipulation, and confusion. Don't call it love just because you're afraid of being alone. Love will never ask you to stay in a place where your soul is withering. Real love breathes life into you, and you deserve nothing less. And if you are raising children, whether in a full house or in your memories, know this, you are doing sacred work. You are not just wiping faces or folding laundry or repeating yourself 1,000 times a day. You are shaping the next generation. As we continue from the previous thoughts, let's explore deeper into the importance of speaking up and standing firm in your truth. You are writing truth into little hearts. And let me tell you, your labor is not wasted. It is worship. Every ounce of energy you pour into nurturing, guiding, and caring for others is sacred. But even amidst all that giving, I urge you, don't lose your voice. Too many women have stayed silent for too long. We've been taught that silence keeps the peace, that keeping quiet avoids conflict. But here's the truth. Sometimes silence only keeps the pain locked away. It doesn't heal it. It doesn't resolve it. Don't be afraid to speak. Don't bury your dreams, your truth, your desires just to make someone else more comfortable. Speak with kindness, yes, but speak because your voice has power. Your truth has weight, and your story, yes, your story, might be the very thing another woman needs to hear to find her way home. Your words may be the bridge someone else needs to cross into a life of freedom and self-acceptance. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes her worth doesn't live in the mirror. It's not hung up in her closet. It's not contained in the number on a scale. Nor is it reflected in the way others respond to her. Your value isn't something you earn. It's something you already have. It was placed on you the day you were created. And no amount of years, mistakes, or wrinkles can ever take it away. You are not a sum of your flaws, mistakes, or imperfections. You are a living testament of grace. What redeems you is not how perfect your life looks to the world, but who holds it. And once you know that, once you come to fully realize who you are and whose you are, you can stop apologizing for being strong. Because strength in a woman, true strength, isn't harsh. It's holy. It's not about being louder than everyone in the room. It's about standing firm in your truth when the world tells you to sit down, to be quiet, to shrink. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that strength makes us less feminine, less lovable, less desirable. But that's a lie. You were never meant to shrink yourself so others could feel bigger. You were meant to carry fire. And here's the thing. Don't dim it. Don't hide it. And never, ever say, "I'm sorry," for the courage it takes to be fully who you are. Now, let's talk about love. Not the kind of love the movies sell us. Not the kind that's conditional, manipulative, or controlling. I'm talking about real love. The kind of love that doesn't cage you but calls you higher, pushes you to grow, and stands beside you in your highest moments and your lowest. Love is not ownership. Love is not control. If you're bending and breaking just to keep someone from leaving, that's not love. That's bondage. You were not made for that. You were made for covenant, for partnership, for a love that sees you, hears you, and still chooses to stay. A love that lifts burdens, not one that piles them on your shoulders. You deserve that kind of love. You deserve a love that makes you feel stronger, more yourself, and more connected to your true essence. So don't settle for less, just to avoid loneliness. Sometimes, being alone is the beginning of being whole. And to the women who are raising children, whether in a bustling home or in a quiet space, don't let the world fool you into thinking your work is small. You're not just cleaning messes, folding laundry, or repeating yourself 1,000 times a day. You are shaping the hearts that will one day lead families, communities, and even nations. Every whispered prayer, every sleepless night, every teaching moment, it all matters. It's kingdom work, even if no one else sees it or applauds it. And even on your worst days, when it feels like you're barely holding it all together, know that you are doing better than you think. But in all of that doing, don't lose your voice, because silence, though polite, can slowly become a prison. We were taught to be agreeable, to keep things smooth, to stay quiet so others stay comfortable. But that silence can chip away at your peace. It can make you question your worth. It can stifle your truth. So, speak, even if your voice shakes. Speak, even if you've spent years holding back. Because your truth matters. You matter. And every time one woman speaks up, she frees another who thought she had to stay quiet too. And lastly, when the world tells you to do more, hustle harder. Never stop. Remember this. Peace doesn't come from doing more. It comes from surrender. Not giving up, but handing over. Handing over the need to fix it all. The need to be perfect. The fear of falling short. The constant pressure to achieve. You were never meant to carry it all. Let go. Breathe. Rest in the truth that you are enough. Not because you've done everything perfectly, but because you belong to the one who holds everything together. And so, I leave you with this thought. There is a wisdom that only time can teach, but it must be shared for it to live on. Take these truths, hold them close, and walk confidently in them. Speak them over your daughters. Remind your sisters, and hold your head high, not because you've done everything right, but because you are loved beyond measure. You are enough, just as you are.